Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Man, I must say I'm a criminal today. I just had pasta, some vegetables, still hungry, got up, got a pizza, and later on I'm probably going to get some Popeyes. Wait, no, I don't think they got Popeyes there, but I'll probably get some KFC. Um, Spicy too. I got to make a grocery run today. Look, regarding the whole corporate thug thing, let me state this right quick. I want to thank the commentators that responded to that. And here's why. Um, I wanted to make clear that we have no business sympathizing with any possible reasons that any sister, Western or not, or Westernized could give for why they want the corporate thug or the thug at all. Some of you brothers came in and said exactly what I was hoping somebody would say, because things tend to be more believable when it's not me that says them, sometimes, depending on what we're talking about at the time. So some of you came in and commented and said, corporate and thug don't go together. They don't want the corporate. They just want the thug. Thank you, because that is the absolute truth. That's all they wanted from the very beginning, the thug. They never wanted anything else, just the thug. Corporate might mean that they have some other ways of making money so that they can get things like passports. And, they might be kind of good about keeping paperwork in order. But what it is this. And shout out to Edward Allen Anderson, who pointed this out. The want for swag and the want for a thug, the hybristophilia and the dysgenic mating standards are a form of self-hatred. It's just that they hate us more than they hate themselves. There's a reason why it is that, stereotypically speaking, the ones with the weave want the ratchet dudes, the thugs. Now, what I found is that when they're big and they're ratchet and they got the weave in and the self-hatred manifests the most, obviously, then they do tend to want just the thug, the one they can control. He doesn't know where his paperwork is. And then there is then the ones that are a bit classier tend to want the guys that, they still want the thug, but they tend to want the ones that at least keep their paperwork in order so that because they have jobs, so they can spend less time taking care of the man. In other words, it would take less to control him. They may not even want to control him. They may want to merely get rid of him one day and then not have to worry about anything later, not be asked about any of the paperwork, things like that. But in the end, it's the thug they want. Corporate, nothing. They want the thug. And I want to thank you guys for pointing this out. Edward Allen Anderson talked about how it's a form of self-hatred, and it is. So when they say that, just say, okay, well, you know what? Date out and get you one of them thugs. At least they'll probably get a shorter prison sentence than, oh, wait, that's right. Yeah, you don't want that anyway. But ain't nothing corporate about it. And I just wanted to go ahead and let some of you chime in and say this, and some of you did. If you even so much as don't have baby mamas and you don't have enough tattoos, as one commentator said, it becomes a major turnoff for them. It gives them the major ick. Only 3 tattoos, no baby mamas, what the F? I mean, we're getting to that point where, as Red Lion pointed out, you're going to have to start deleting folks soon. Well, I mean, of course, that's a one-way ticket to somebody's gas chamber or lethal injection chamber. So what's that really about? It means they don't really want you anyway. That's what that's about. Even when you thug, they kind of want you, but only temporarily. And if you're not, but you're still one of us, you're still Onyx, then they don't want you at all. And if they do, which does happen, they can't admit it to anyone. They can't even admit it to themselves because they're so embarrassed because of the hive mind telling them they should not. How do you know this is hatred? It is self-hatred. They hate us more than they hate themselves, but it is self-hatred. How can you tell? Because they shame each other out of making smart decisions and into making bad ones. Kendra G talked about that when she talked about the lady that refused the Cheesecake Factory, even if it's a skit. And she later came out and said Sanjay was in on it, but I doubt it. Anyway, the point is that she did say something about her friends. So even in a skit, she had to include a very realistic element, which is her friends, her circle of friends. She can't live that down as she's seen in the Cheesecake Factory. You bastard niche, you immature, childish little cuss word. See, remember when you're growing up and there's somebody you don't want to be with because she got a bad rep, like she actually has a bad rep, and dudes, your trusted homeboys are like, "No, bro, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I heard this, that, and the other about her, bro. I actually saw some evidence, bro. I saw her walking out of there." Just from that, what happens? They come and they tell you, like your trusted boys, not just dudes in the locker room, but your trusted boys come and tell you what they know. And then the next thing is that when she sees you in the hall and she tries to flirt, you're like, "Hey, how you doing? How's it going? Oh, you acting funny. Wait, I don't know how you mean." See, you let your friends tell you what to think and who to choose. And see, they don't let you do that. Even if it's your sincere friends with real evidence, they don't let you listen to other men. But then they won't turn around and listen to girls that don't even like them. Tell them to pick the worst for themselves they could pick. Because misery loves company. Not because that's really your girl. No, that ain't why. So it's up. It's like that. And I'm glad that some of you brothers chimed in and said they don't even want the corporate. I mean, they may have different levels of thug they want. I'm sure they, as individuals, they'll have different levels, but they don't necessarily want the corporate. Keep that in mind. But I'll let the commentators say it before I said anything. Next, I want to speak to this instance with Samantha Lee talking about this is what led. I had these people in my ear. I probably wouldn't have left if they hadn't said nothing. So she's throwing her friends under the bus. But Tyrese came out, and I haven't finished listening yet. Shout out to Shannon Ross for covering this one. I appreciate that. Tyrese came out and said, "Look, man, there wasn't nobody in your ear except your mom." And he gave mom's name, and I appreciated that. He gave the names of others that had set up therapy sessions. And he straight up said, "Wasn't nobody else in your ear except mom. Only mom. Just mom. If you wanted to be famous, all you had to say was that." Tyrese, I can't say that you had some better choice to make. There are going to be some dudes and plenty of sisters that are going to say, "Well, you just should have chose better." I'm not really. They should be saying you should have chosen better, but I'm not going to get into that because, what I'm coming to understand, Mr. Gibson, is that better is not available in the States. It's not there. Better only exist behind closed doors, kept away from us intentionally by the hive mind, because they know what the deal is. They know that while this better may exist, they know that if we can find it, it's a wrap for the bulk of them. They know this. They know that the same girls whose faces they threaten to slash for not being hard enough on us, for being too good of a deal to us, are the ones with whom they can't compete. Sometimes there are some people that are just very disciplined. They're very sharp. They're on it. They're overachievers. And of course, for some of them, it helps that they may only need 4 hours of sleep. There are some people that are just like that. They only need 4 hours of sleep for whatever reason. Now, they tend to be overachievers. And that's okay as long as they can understand that most people need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Most of the ones who need only 4 don't understand this about others. So, they like to shame people, and they raise the bar. And then before you know it, you can't even keep a good, well-paying corporate job without undersleeping. They love to do that. Anyway, you have some people that just like that. And then others become jealous of them. Now, sometimes you may become resentful of them because of something wrong they actually did. But other times you may become actually jealous of them, envious of them. Some people may. They would say, well, they can show such levels of self-discipline and I just don't like them. Well, what is it? What is it that make you feel so bad about? That's what it's like. See, at first when Samantha Lee said, when she said, "I thought she meant it. I thought that's really what happened," they were in her ear. But he came around and said, "No, it was worse than that. Wasn't nobody in your ear except mama." What this means is that They were in her ear before, years ago, years before. She knew what they would have said if they had been in her ear, but they weren't in her ear. She was listening to what she knew they would have said. She was still listening to the same training, even when nobody was repeating it to her. And she was reaping the benefits of the success of not listening to it before. It's deep. It's almost, to be honest with you, it's like subconscious racism, subconscious bias. That's what it's like. When you think about it, it's like, you know what? You just, you know that it's wrong to be biased. The Dr. Tim Wise talked about this. You know that the biases are wrong. You know that anti-blackness is wrong. You realize that. But what happens is that, see, you get older and but even before you get Alzheimer's, you start to get nostalgic about certain things. And what happens then? Well, you're older, you're nostalgic, you miss certain things. But then you change your mind about some things. You start to look at what you were told when you were young and you say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and believe it. And you do. That's what happened here. Tyrese was right about them not being in her ear now, or at the time they were married, if they weren't in her ear. But there's still something else at play. There's a time when they would have been in her ear. There's a time when they would have been in the ears of the ones you and I know. It's been like that for a while. A time they would have been in the ears of the ones you and I know, back in middle school, back in high school, up until now. So it's so deeply ingrained that when they get to where she is, when they get to where Samantha Lee is in terms of age, and even in terms of some sort of success and just inaccessibility to the same ones that were in their ears and conditioned them and socialized them when they were kids and adolescents, the training is still there even after they've lost access. That's where the problem comes in. It's jacked up, but it does. That's what you and I are looking at. That's what we're facing. That's what we're seeing play out on here. Samantha's saying that they were in her ear. No, that was years ago. Now all it took was mom to reactivate the training. And that just goes to show you, instead of mom talking some good sense into her, mom told her, girl, you better leave. But the real tragedy is how everybody that is involved in any way, like the judges and the attorneys, are in on it, letting her fleece him. And all because she wants to be famous. And when you see her trying to use this for fame, she can't. The only way she can use it for fame is by going up as Samantha Lee and not Samantha Lee Gibson. Samantha, why don't you add Gibson to that last, just to see? See, she's losing this because now people know, wait a minute, that's the same broad. The one on YouTube is the same broad that left Tyrese for no good reason. He still does not know to this day why she left. Tyrese, I'm here for it. Keep on going, man. Call names too. Leave her no privacy. Not because she didn't want you per se, but because of what she's been doing in the meantime. The hypocrisy. The lying. The posturing. Give him hell, 54th. As always, thank you for listening. Black Heart, Black Mind, Blackout. Assalamu alaikum, black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. And black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you for flying again with us on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.